just have to start off by saying there is a little dog, I think, in a neighboring apartment who is very young and is barking a lot. So if you hear that, I apologize. There it is, having a bad day. Anyway, I have returned. I survived the winter. It was, winter shows no mercy, and I understand that more and more with each winter that passes. That seasonal depression is no joke. I feel like for the past 3 months, I've just been down. I've just been keeping to myself. I've just been getting through it. And I did. We're on the other side. It is almost spring, and I am back because I went to the movies. I saw a movie that I want to talk about. So I made a little coffee. I thought I could have a little coffee. And just chat about a movie. And I have my notes right here, so if I glance down, it's only because I haven't made a video in like 3 or 4 months, and even, that aside, I've only made a couple of videos, so I'm still trying to figure out how it all works and the best way to go about making my videos. All that to say, I'm nervous, and so I have notes in front of me to help me kind of stay on track and touch on everything I want to say about this movie. So let's take another sip of coffee and we'll get into it. So the movie I went to go see was Dune 2, and I was really looking forward to seeing this movie, one, because the first one was pretty good. It was not very informative. It was very much an introductory film, but it was still good. I still really enjoyed it, so I was looking forward to seeing the next part of the story. And the other reason why I was really excited about it specifically was because I'm very much a film person. I keep up with films to the best of my ability, and I just saw everywhere. I don't spend much time on the internet, and when I do, it's probably like movie related. All I was seeing was how incredible Dune 2 was, how every single person on cast had this incredible performance, how it stood as like one of the greatest sequels ever. It was getting compared to The Empire Strikes Back. It was getting compared to The Dark Knight. It was getting compared to The Lord of the Rings. I think The Two Towers. Anyway, I think that's the second one. But it was just getting compared to all these fantastic movies that just exist in film history, some of the greatest movies ever made. And that's a lot of hype. To compare a movie to The Dark Knight is bold, because The Dark Knight is just a perfect movie, 10 out of 10, just one of the best movies. And so to say, well, this movie's like The Dark Knight, or this movie it stands as strong as The Dark Knight, or whatever they were saying, is like pretty incredible. I was excited. I was like, wow, this is gonna be incredible. And of course, all of my friends who were seeing it were all saying, go see this movie, go see this movie. It's a great movie. Have you seen Dune 2 yet? It's so fantastic. Yeah. So of course I was excited to go see this movie. So people kept telling me to go see this movie. I can't believe you haven't seen it yet. And I did go see it. And I have to say, it was a pretty good movie. It was a movie I definitely found myself still thinking about after a couple of days. Clearly it left an impression on me because I'm sitting here talking about it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I liked it. It was, well, okay. It's such a big movie, it's hard to pick like where to start. So we're just gonna start with my first immediate thought when I think of Dune 2, which was Austin Butler. I already knew he was a phenomenal actor before I even saw this movie, and I love Austin Butler. I loved him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I thought he stole the show. I just loved him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he wasn't even in the movie for very long, but I was thoroughly impressed. And then of course he played Elvis, and he was really great in that. And of course he is infamous for having the Elvis accent to this day. Or I don't know, I saw an article recently that he wanted to get a dialect coach to help him get rid of the Elvis accent because he's just been talking with it ever since he made the movie, which was like years ago. And I just think that is so funny because he takes it so seriously. Just the fact that it's not a bit. This has lasted for years. He's like so serious. And his seriousness about his job is what I just love about him. Also because clearly it's working. Whatever method he's doing, it's really intense and it's really funny. Like I saw a quote from him about Dune 2, about how I think in between takes he was only 30% in character, and it was because he was worried about the safety of the cast. You know, if he stayed 100% in character of the nephew Harkonnen, I can't remember what his name was. I just remember they kept calling him nephew or psychopath. But anyway, I think I really like that he is that way. I think it's really funny. And it's just nobody else in Hollywood goes that hard. Nobody takes it that seriously. But he does, and he just evolves into these characters. Literally evolving, because once he's done playing them, I guess they're still with him. So I really like that about him. I think it works. But specifically in Dune, oh my god, I have to look at my notes because I'm just thinking about the greatness of Austin Butler. I think he is a top tier actor. I think he stands alone at the level of acting that he brings to the table. I mean, I guess he's my favorite actor. Now when we think about him, specifically in Dune, I think once again he stole the show. His acting and his scenes, he is just such a rich person. His talent is so rich, and it definitely, he conveys it well on screen. And I thought he was terrifying in this movie. He was absolutely ruthless. He was very thirsty for death, which is terrifying. He was a very terrifying guy. And I remember, I don't think he shows up for like the first third of the movie. And when they started to bring up his character, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna be here soon. Ah! I was so excited to see that performance, and it was as good as I expected it to be and more. He was the best part of the movie, in my opinion, and that's probably just going to be his career, is that whatever movie he's in, he's gonna be the best part of the movie. I remember while I was watching Dune 2, I was like, if I had been in charge, I would have casted Austin Butler to play like the nephew, but also I would totally, completely cast him to play Paul too. I know that sounds so silly, but I'm so serious, because could you imagine Austin Butler putting himself in the headspace of somebody who thinks he's a living god? That would be so powerful and a little insane. Maybe it's for the best he did not get casted as Paul, because I feel like it might be dangerous, the recovery from that character for him specifically, just because he takes it to such an extreme level when it comes to getting in character. But I'd be entertained, but I would love to see him cast as every part in every movie for the rest of my life. I think he's that good of an actor. I just love him so much. Also, Austin Butler was actually, side note, was cast to be in Ari Aster's next movie, which I was really excited about at first, because Ari Aster is my favorite director, because I think Hereditary and Midsommar are absolutely perfect movies. I loved his vision. I feel like everything about both of those movies appealed to me and my core. I thought they were perfect and I loved them. like they seriously sit as like examples of what my personality looks like. I just love those movies so much. So Austin Butler they announced that he was in talks to be in this movie called Eddington, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like this phenomenal actor, my favorite director, this is gonna be great, this is gonna be wonderful, love it, let's do it. I was so excited about it, but then I actually looked up this movie that he's going to be in, Eddington, and it's directed by Ari Aster. And further details of this new movie, it is also going to be starring Joaquin Phoenix. The history on that is that I have never seen a Joaquin Phoenix movie that I've liked. It's also going to have Emma Stone, who I had no problem with. La La Land is my favorite movie. But then I saw Poor Things, and now I am like good on Emma Stone. Only thing I'm gonna say about Poor Things, I don't think that movie's gonna age very well. And I just didn't like that movie. So she's gonna be in it. Joaquin Phoenix is gonna be it. Pedro Pascal's gonna be in it, but I've never seen him in anything. I've seen a couple of episodes of Last of Us, so like that's fine. I know people love him. And other details, it is going to be a Western, one of my least favorite genres. And now I'm scared. Of course I'm gonna go see it, but the fact that Joaquin Phoenix is in it is making me very nervous. But maybe like Austin Butler will just bring so much to this movie. Maybe it'll be phenomenal. Who knows? All we can do is wait. I love Ari Aster. I'm just scared. But anyway, I wanted to get that off my chest. So back to Dune. I would say my favorite character was Chani. I found her to be very relatable. I loved how fiercely loyal she was to her planet. I loved how sensitive she was towards her planet. Whenever she would hear anybody talking about it, she was like alert, aware. I loved how fiercely loyal she was to her planet. I loved how much she loved Paul, because I am a lover myself, and I just found that to be very relatable when your significant other just means so much to you. And you could definitely tell how much she loved Paul. You know, you're devastated she felt by the way she was being treated by him near the end. But I relate to that. I love that about her. I also really liked how when everyone around her was just saying the most ridiculous things and believing in this ridiculous story of what was going on, and like it was literally everybody, and yet she was still like, she knew how she felt about it and she stuck with it. She was like, you guys, this is ridiculous. This is just real life. Calm down. I love her. I loved her. She was my favorite part of the movie, and I do hope that in the third one, I feel like she wasn't in the first one. We kind of got to know her a little bit. We got to, like, you know, when you meet somebody for the first time and you just have that initial impression of them, and you know nothing, you don't really know a whole lot of what goes on underneath. I feel like that's what we got with this movie, and so I hope in the next one she gets to come out of her shell and she pushes herself. I kind of got the vibe by the end of this movie that she's going to push herself to do really cool things in the next one. So I don't know. I've never read Dune. I don't know what we're in store for, but I do hope that she becomes a bigger and bigger and bigger part of the story, because I really liked her. I really liked her. She gives me good feelings. I would say overall it was a good movie. I had a good time watching it. I felt the magnitude of the storytelling. The acting, I mean, Austin Butler was in it, so of course the acting was fantastic. I thought it was... What's funny is that I did think it was kind of a goofy movie, and it's because, like, it's silly. There are certain elements of the Dune story that just to have a visual of it, it can't not be silly. For example, like whenever Bill Skarsgård's dad was in costume and he was floating around, like it was just so funny. Or I think it was Harkonnen soldiers, whenever they were literally floating up a cliff. Oh, that was so funny to me because I was not expecting that. Or what was the other silly thing? There was another silly thing. Oh my God, I remember what it was. It was when Paul's mom drank the water of life and she had that ridiculous reaction to the poison. It was very silly. But you know, I have room in my heart for a silly movie. It was very dramatic. As silly as it was like 10 times more dramatic, for sure. The music, anytime Paul would say something that just, you know, affected everybody, and the lady yelling and the music would start, it was just very, very, very dramatic. Yeah, especially after Paul drank the water of life and his ego just blew up. Yeah. I saw that, I was like, that would be pretty cool to be able to just drink something and it takes away every reservation you've ever had about your abilities to succeed. That would be incredible. Sign me up. I'd say overall, very dramatic, really fun. It was almost 3 hours long, didn't really feel like it. It was good. The only thing about Dune, taking it to a personal note, I mean, this whole thing's been one big personal note. I'm just chatting about a movie that I saw. The only thing about Dune, I don't think it should have been I do not think it should have been compared to The Dark Knight. B, personally, there are a lot of themes in the movie that just are not interesting to me at all. Also, just when people crave that level of power, I think that's kind of gross. And so a whole story about, you know, climbing to power, it doesn't really appeal to me. But with that said, I will definitely be seeing the third movie because I do like the movies. I would not read the book, but I do like the movies. You're looking, you know, you want to have a good time, you want to go see a good movie, and that was what the most important thing was, is that I walked out of that theater and I just felt so good because I love movies so much. And when movies, well, you know, a lot of movies aren't good, especially lately. They're just not good. But this was undeniably a fun, good, entertaining, solid movie where everybody was dedicated to making it the best thing they possibly could. And it was. Everybody loved this movie. It is so adored already, and it hasn't even been out for very long. So yeah, excited to see more. Only other thing I would change, you know, I would probably replace Florence Pugh with, and I'm saying this from on a very personal note, I would switch her with Lana Del Rey because, like, again, I've never read the books, but watching the movie, I feel like, me personally, I wanted that character to just be, like, I wanted my breath to be taken away when I see her. Like, I don't know, I just wanted, it's so irrelevant to, like, her actual character, but for whatever reason, that's the vibe I got. Like, oh my God, like, can you imagine if Lana Del Rey was the princess? I think she'd be a good fit. She's so, like, beautiful. She's so, and like, I'm so entranced by her. And that's kind of what, like, the kind of person I would envision for that role. Anyway, so random. I didn't even have to say that, but my favorite singer is Lana Del Rey, if you didn't know. But yeah, good movie. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. I would definitely recommend. And it just felt good to see a good movie again. Oh, you know what was also a good movie? Was The Holdovers. I can talk about that in another video, but that is more of the way that Dune was, like the elements of the story are not for me. Everything about The Holdovers was for me. I feel like that movie was written for me. I loved everything about that movie. I thought it was so sweet. It was so funny too, and it was so relatable, and it was so sad. Like I found myself crying and laughing one right after another when I was watching that movie, like simultaneously almost. That's how much like the emotions but also the laughs just were sewn together. It was beautiful. I loved that movie. That should have been Best Picture. We're not even gonna get into it. Wait, one more thing. I'm very happy that Christopher Nolan won Best Director. Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors, has been one of my favorite directors since high school. I freaking love him. And the fact that he's been making like fantastic, phenomenal, top tier, flawless movies, one after another, after another, after another. And he just now won an Oscar for directing. It's like, we don't need awards to tell us who's good or who's not, because Christopher Nolan's the best, and he just won. Like, he made The Dark Knight, and he just won. In 2024, he won his first directing Oscar. So, go watch The Holdovers, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. It was nice having a little cup of coffee, talking about movies, two things I love to do in this life. So maybe I'll keep this up. I do need to, keep up with my channel in general, but I'm a work in progress. All right, thanks so much. Talk to you later.